All right, welcome in. For those of you joining us from The Rock Show, Wrestling with Derek here. We are with Thunder Rosa. We're back. We're talking about all kinds of things. It was a little bit scattered during the Rock Show portion of this because I wanted to try and get a little bit in from every kind of angle to kind of get people over here to the broadcast. But welcome back, I guess. Thank you for staying around for this PAB edition of the show.
No problem, man. I'm just, waiting because I haven't eaten anything since I woke up at 8:30 because I wake up and then I do my exercises with my empty stomach, my first part of the exercises. Yeah. And usually I always have so much to do in the morning that I forget to eat, so I have brunch. So my stomach is like, I'm ready for brunch.
Right on. Well, I will try to make it quick out of here. But as we were talking about things, I want to kind of take it back from the start of the Rock Show segment. You were talking about when you got started. You got started out in California. You're in San Antonio now, if I'm correct. I see you posting a lot with Joe Galley on the Instagram there. But talk about that from starting out there and kind of moving toward, I guess, middle, bottom part of the country, I guess.
Well, when I started in Cali, I always wanted to make a living out of wrestling, and it was really hard because when you start, you either don't get paid or you get like a $20, payout. I mean, let's be real, it still happens now. And I just started noticing that, the more that you invest in yourself, the more you need to get out of it. So my husband and I were always very smart about that. And a lot of things happened in my career really fast because that was how it was supposed to happen. That was in my destiny to happen that way. No matter how much people hated about it, the fact that I was being successful, the fact that, I guess I didn't deserve what I was getting, but I was showing every time that no matter how many times they were throwing me on the fire, that I was going to succeed. And that's what I did. The first, not even 10 matches in, I went to Japan to Stardom. I got all messed up out there, physically, when that didn't stop me. I came back stronger. I came back to America. And then my husband and I was like, okay, we need to reconsider all this. What are we going to do? You know what? We're going to start traveling. Let's invest even more. So we started traveling to Southern California, asking for opportunities and stuff like that. Then many times I was just passing out flyers, just hustling, selling tickets because I want people to see me as a wrestler, see me that I can draw people, see me that I have value in this business. So I will just go. Sometimes I'll just go on the weekends, and I had a full-time job. I'll go on the weekends to LA, just pass out flyers for shows that were going to happen 2 months, because I wanted people to come and see me. Yeah. I wanted people to see me what, you should invest in me. But, it didn't happen that way. Like I said, people always have who they want and what they want to see in the promotion. No matter how much work do you do, no matter how many, dues you pay, you still never get booked for the promotion you want to work. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to go. I'm sorry. I cursed. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go where people are going to appreciate my work. And that's what I started doing. I went to Mexico on my own, and I saw okay, who wanted to work with me. So I made some connections when I was in Japan, and I got a couple of bookings. And, some of these bookings, they paid me, I'm not lying, $10 a torta and a soda. That's what I got paid. And this is at the same time that I got signed with Lucha Underground. Yeah. So I was wrestling in Mexico, flew to LA. I'm in a 5-star hotel with all this super mega stars working in a Hollywood production show. Then I go back to Mexico, sleeping in a really hard floor, trying to get, booked somewhere, because I wanted to see people that I was talented, So that was literally that's what happened my whole, for the first 3 years. I will be in the weekends working for Lucha Underground, staying in the Hilton in downtown LA, getting catered and money for your food or whatever, or your the per diem. And then the next weekend I'll be sleeping on my auntie's house on the floor because I want to get that booking, So I was that kept me humble the whole entire time. And there was a point in where I was living in California. That was 3 years ago, and I'm telling my husband, hey, man, I'm not getting booked in Cali, man. I don't know what the hell we're doing here. It's super expensive. We're living in the Nookland. We're living in the Bay Area, where it is one of the most expensive places to live in the country. He had a job. I was just working as a professional wrestler at this time because, again, we saw that I had to focus on professional wrestling if I wanted to make it because I'm not as young as a lot of the girls are. Mm-hmm. So I left my social work job, benefits, retirement, everything to live up this dream. And he was working full time, and he had a decent job at that time. And then once I started noticing that most of my bookings were in Texas and I was getting paid my rate in Texas, I was like, hey, bro, what the hell are we doing here? Let's go to
right?
Texas. Yeah. And then this is when we brought Sabotage Wrestling, and I was like, there is no female wrestling here or intergender wrestling for that sort. I think we have a really good market here. I mean, it's going to take money and a lot of sacrifice, but we can do it. So we did, man. We had Sabotage Wrestling, the first all intergender show in the state of Texas 2 years ago, where Mia Khalifa was part of it. And it was amazing. Like, we had so much coverage on it. Like, it's still one of my favorite shows that we worked on, and that we had so much fun working on it with all the fans and with all the talent. And then right after that, I was like, all right, man, I think it's time for us to move here. And then, no, actually, we were living here. So we moved here, and that's how I ended up in San Antonio. Like, well, I was living like an hour away from here with a friend, and somebody, like, he let us stay in one room. It was a tiny little room. And we, like, literally packed everything in a van in my Prius, whatever it fit, and we left California. He left his job, and we just had savings, and that's how we've been doing it, man. And, and then things got really good, thankfully. We got an apartment for ourselves, and, and I was just like, all right, man. And then I've been living off professional wrestling for, I don't know, it's going to be like 4 years now.
Well, yeah. I'm going to get the wording wrong, so I'm just going to paraphrase you here, because when I'm hearing you talk about this, it makes me think of, I believe, an Instagram post I saw right after you debuted on Power, maybe a couple of weeks after you debuted, where you were talking about how you were so, I don't know, thankful, I guess. Maybe that's an understatement, but you were thankful that NWA wanted Thunder Rosa. They didn't want any other gimmick, anything. They wanted Thunder Rosa. I mean, that has to feel good coming from doing all that to now.
Absolutely, man. I mean, just imagine the fact that for all this time I've been like going against the current, like trying to evolve and like create these characters that are not mine and trying to get them over, again, to be more marketable. Because again, I am a performer at the end of the day. And if it's going to pay my bills, if you want me to put a freaking mask on, I'm going to put a mask on. If you want me to change certain things, I'm going to do it. You know why? Because again, I'm living a dream. Like I cannot tell you, like, so many people will wish to have worked with like Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, the Guerreros, have worked with like so many people are now, or they were in NWA, like MVP, like I met Alberto Del Rio through like all that stuff, it's just like all these legends of the ring, and being in so young in the business. And you can't describe that. It's amazing. Like having to like work in a Hollywood like production. Yeah. It's not, not everybody can say that, and realizing that there is more out of like that wrestling that is just not in the ring that you can learn, that can help you in any other thing that you want to do in life. I think I just got sidetracked. I don't even know why I'm saying this. But, yeah. I'm sorry.
I get it, though. Again, I get exactly what you're saying.
Responding to your question, when Lagana saw me in ROH, I'm telling you, everything happened for a reason. All my career has gone the way that has gone because it was supposed to be that way. Yes, I was frustrated because I was being put in hoods all the time because I was given other characters that wasn't mine. But, when Lagana met me, he knew that Thunder Rosa was going to be over, quote unquote, that my character alone was going to be enough for people to talk about. Either that they were going to say that I suck, or that they're going to be like mesmerized by the charisma, by the presence, and by what I bring to the ring, and that when I saw my picture on the, Into the Power intro, I like literally started crying. It was my husband and I were like holding each other, and it was like, fucking finally. Yeah. Like, damn, like it took us 6 years, man, like this is incredibly crazy. And I call I called Adana and I was just crying. I'm like, thank you so much for this, you know, blah, 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 blah. And he was just like, oh my God, you're always crying. And then I called Billy. I was like, Billy, like I sent him a message. I was like, Billy, like you have no idea how thankful I am for you, your family, and all the sacrifice that you're doing to make NWA work. Because without them too, like this wouldn't work. I mean, they worked their ass off. Like Billy Corgan is so dedicated and so in love with wrestling. And he has such a vision that not a lot of people, like people will be like, well, he doesn't know nothing about wrestling. No, he does know a lot about wrestling.
You know what?
He knows the history of wrestling.
I will admit this. When I first heard, I mean, this was long ago. I think this was before Impact. This was when he was working with, I believe, I don't know, Rev Pro or something out of Chicago, maybe. I was reading a Pro Wrestling Illustrated talking about this, and I was like, Billy Corgan, no, he's not going to do good. No, I was completely, totally wrong. Oh my goodness, he's brought so much into it.
Yes, he does, because again, he knows about the history of wrestling. I sat down with him one time, you know, on a personal level, and I started asking him the same question that you probably wanted to ask him, and he blew my mind. I mean, he knew more about history of wrestling in Chicago and like all that, you know, in the East Coast area that I ever knew, you know, and then that like really sparked my interest to like really learn, you know, the history of women's wrestling, because a lot of people, you know, like we talk about this evolution, BS and whatever. This stuff has been going on since like 1930s, man. Some of these women, they were banned from getting in the ring, you know, like in Mexico too. Like I've read some of the history in Mexico for decades. Women were not allowed to get on a ring, not even on a carnival. Like they were not allowed at all. And these women had to fight to the teeth with men, with society, with everything to be able to, for us to be here and for me to be talking to you like here.
I couldn't imagine being Mildred Burke. No.
You just gotta be a hustler, man. And she was a hustler. she was a dog, man. She didn't take no for an answer, you know. And like, and I like how she didn't give a shit about, you know, because people were like, oh my God, like that. You know, it's so violent and like that's so unladylike. And she was like, "No, I'm not a lady in the ring, but I'm a lady outside of the ring." So she used her femininity, her sexuality to show that, you know, you can have both. You know, and that's one of the things that I appreciate about that, because a lot of some people will be like in any sport, even now, some women will be criticized because they use that. But I mean, again, you have to be smart. Sometimes you cannot live just solely on pro wrestling or on fighting. I mean, there's other things that the system is looking for, you know?
Now, speaking of fighting, you said pro wrestling or fighting. Like you said it earlier, you're also an MMA fighter. I see a lot of people transitioning now, kind of crossing in between. Do you take anything from professional wrestling into MMA or back vice versa? I mean, professional wrestlers trained in how to fall, trained in how to do certain things to lessen impact. Does that help when you're in a real fight?
I mean, well, if you take a good tackle or you take a good takedown, you know, you don't lift up your chin and not to get winded, you know. So it's not as, you know, as impactful. But I mean, it's being punched in the face and being kicked, and you know, it's not, you know, something that we do all the time. Unless you like wrestle in Japan with like Inoki or like, you know, some of like the hardcore like Japanese people. I mean, one of my senpai, that's when I knew that, you know, shoot kicks really hurt, and they hurt for days. And I remember being kicked for this when they were kind of like doing my introduction to MMA. Like, I was like, oh shit, it's gonna hurt a lot. You know, it's gonna be a lot of pain. It's gonna be. This is not wrestling. You know. So I was like, okay. So I think it was like wrestling helped me withstand a lot of the pain and helped me be a little bit more tough in certain aspects, because I've seen like some people come and they're like, oh, I want to fight, I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then when they do the Shark Tank, when like pretty much everybody jumps you just to see how, if you have conditioning, if you have resistance, if you, you know, they did the same thing in wrestling, right? You know, the Hell Week, we do the same thing. We just want to see if you have the heart and if you're going to keep coming back. So I remember being there and being like, oh my God, what the hell I got myself into? But I was like, I'm not going to quit, you know? If I cry, I cry. I just, you know, clean my tears and come back the next day all beat up and whatever. But I mean, I will say that, and like, just feel uncomfortable with crowds. Like, I feel like a lot of the fighters, they feel very uncomfortable with crowds, or like cutting promos or doing interviews, like all the other stuff that are not fighting. A lot of people are very uncomfortable with. I'm not, because again, I've been doing it for 6 years, and I've been doing it for a living, you know. So I feel like some of the most successful fighters are getting paid millions of dollars. Like, I mean, they draw people because they run their mouth, because they put up a show before the match, you know, or the fight. So I think that's one of the reasons why they were so drawn, like with Ronda Rousey, you know. She runs her mouth all the time.
Well, I mean, of course, I mean, by the time we're recording this now, I don't know when people are listening to it, but at the time we're recording this now, she's kind of making her foray back into WWE, saying some things about professional wrestling. I believe it's kind of a shoot work thing going on right now, but she's using that kind of real life aspect in it. I mean, that's something that I think is missing a little bit, or maybe in certain areas, certain companies, I should say, often overused. You got any thoughts on that?
I mean, to tell you the truth, like, there's a couple of fans that asked me, do you think this is a shoot or this is a work? I was like, I think that, I mean, like you said, shoot work kind of thing. Yeah. Because they've been talking about bringing Evolution again for the second time. I mean, why didn't they bring it this year? Well, regardless that the coronavirus happened. But, you know, why didn't they? Ronda wasn't wrestling. Mm-hmm. Ronda was like a big, I might get a lot of like flag about it, but I mean, it's true. Like, she draws. You like her or you don't like her, she draws. You come to boo her. You come to talk shit to her, you know? So I feel like they want to do that again. They want to feel a big venue again. I mean, women's wrestling is hot. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't keep, you know, doing it year after year. I mean, why are they waiting so long? There's so many women on the roster right now that are very, very talented.
Oh my goodness, yes. You know? Oh my goodness.
And like, why are you guys not doing that? I mean, what happened to the women's evolution that you guys have been talking about, you know? So, yes, I feel like mutually they're using each other for, you know, money, for, you know, just to be present on social media, just like, you know, because controversy is money. You like it or not. So, you know, I mean, it's sad, but whatever, you know, whatever brings controversy and whatever brings money, people are going to do. So, you know, that's on them. I mean, did you agree with me?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to do it. I mean, even if she was just a straight out shoot, there was no work to it, WWE's smart enough to take advantage of it and turn it into a work. You know, my thought on it. They're going to take some money, make some money out of it.
And I think a lot of the girls on the roster, they have been responding to what she's saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
If she gets in the ring, like, you know, they ask us to like make her look good because that's the only way she looks good. But if she does something stupid, I will beat her ass. There's a couple ones, and I'm like, whoa, like shit, like. I guess it's like they want to like do like this kayfabe thing. That kayfabe is not dead, you know. Yeah. And this is some real stuff.
I mean, I think. Okay, now this is me getting into it. I know we're carrying this on a little bit too long, but from a fan's perspective, I can see where kayfabe is needed at times, and then I can see where it's like, oh well, I don't really care. I just want to see the match. So I can see both sides of it. I don't really know. I don't really have an answer on if kayfabe's lost or if kayfabe's sorely needed, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's, you know, they're trying to make their money that way, and they're going to do it. And the same thing with, like, a lot of the storylines, they're taking it really personal.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Very, very personal. Yeah, I mean, what's his name? The RKO versus Edge. Like, they were saying some, like, very personal stuff, you know? So, because, again, they want to draw that emotion on people. And people are being drawn. Like, I've seen how many views, like, the interview with Steve-O had. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, they are drawing interest right now because, one, people have absolutely nothing else to do because of our situation. And two, people want to be entertained. And gossip, like, and this kind of stuff entertains people, you know, and keeps people interested in that. I mean, I agree with it, not so much. But I'm personally I don't like to be in like make comments like that. I try to keep it positive as much as possible because I respect the business both because I am in both now, and I know how wrestling is so taxing to your body, and how many people have cut their career short because neck injuries, back injuries, knee injuries, all kinds of stuff. And the same with fighting. Fighting is not a joke, You get knocked out, and
you know what?
With one punch, So it's like I respect both businesses because wrestling has provided for my family for a long time, has allowed me to travel the world, and has allowed me to see another life that I will never had, And I understand why so many people are so offended to what she's saying, because in a way, it's like, okay, girl, we get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell a personal embarrassing story here. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know I've kept you too long anyway, but as we're talking about this, just to that effect, I was at a show in Hayworth, Oklahoma one time, just a small independent fundraiser show. I was hanging out after the show, and no one's around the ring and everything, and I've never been in a ring. I mean, even to this day, at this time, I might have been 17 years old. I've seen Tough Enough. Yeah. I know what's going on. So I jump in there, and I'm like, I'm going to take a bump in this ring. Man, that hurt. I was not expecting it. I didn't plan for it. It hurt. It hurt.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow.
Just imagine taking that little bump, and then when you're doing some of the stuff that some of the girls are doing now in NXT, I'm like,
exactly.
Holy Jesus, I haven't even taken a bump like that.
That is exactly, that is my point. I just fell in a ring and it hurt. Imagine oh my goodness. Anyway, I don't know. I want to thank you so much for calling and just talking wrestling, just hanging out with us here on the podcast. I want to let you go. I don't want to take up too much of your time the rest of your day.
No, I mean, if you have any more questions, I'm more than willing to answer them. I mean, again, we might have taken a little bit more on this one because again, so many feelings are involved in this, but it's again, people love wrestling. People have loved wrestling for decades. There's been their gateway. To get away from reality, and
exactly, yes.
And right now, it's a lot of people don't have that. A lot of my fans, they text me and they're like, "Man, I miss wrestling so much. I miss it so much too. I just miss being in the ring performing, missing coming out of the curtain and feeling the energy of the people." It's being in before the shows, in the middle of the shows, and after the shows. Interacting with people, hugging the little kids, talking to people I haven't seen in months. I miss that. I miss being in NWA Power and taping in Georgia. I mean, the crew was amazing. They all love wrestling. They have worked in wrestling shows for a long time, and seeing that we came back, you should see their faces. I work with so many different crews.
Yeah.
The LU crew was amazing. The PAs, the camera crew, everybody was really cool. They loved wrestling. They were hardcore. They popped for everything we did. They loved their characters. They hated characters. And while the same thing, some of them were working in LU, so I had a rapport with them, and it was amazing to work with them. And then I go to NWA, which is old school wrestling, and a lot of this crew they used to work with old NWA because they're still working for GBP. So I miss that camaraderie, hanging out after the shows with some people or
well, just going to the show man,
that just sucks. It's for everybody, we all waiting. We're just literally, I was talking to a friend. I'm like, man, when this quarantine looks like it's over, people are going to go insane. They're just going out doing stupid stuff that they're not supposed to, and it's just like I said, I was watching that match yesterday and I wanted to cry, because I just miss it so much. I don't miss the pain. I just miss the smell of, of beer, of popcorn,
Well, see, I haven't got to go. I mean, the last show I went to was January, and because I broadcast sports a lot. So I would just, I mean, just going and sitting in the stands would be awesome. I mean, I miss putting on a headset and broadcasting basketball. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, just a whole lot of stuff. But I mean, as I guess the, I don't know, what is the standard tagline? We're alone together. I mean, we're all experiencing kind of the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, and man, I mean, I'm wrestling with my dog now. He's not the same.
But anyway, I will let you go. I will let you get. I mean, thank you so much for taking your time today. Yeah, once again, Thunder Rosa. You can catch her NWA Power. I don't know if you're ever in Japan. Hey, she'll be over there. Tokyo Joshi Pro International Princess Champion. I mean, anything else?
No, just make sure you follow me on YouTube, Thunder Rosa, and also visit my Thunder Rosa website. It's thunderrosa.net. Right there, you can find absolutely everything from, you can Skype with me, you can ask for special picture sets. What else? I do cameos for anybody that needs, like, I don't know, a shout out to your friend, your girlfriend, you know, I don't know, you want to make your girlfriend jealous, just tell me, hey, I love your boyfriend, and then make it jealous. Anything you need, it's there. All my t-shirts, everything is absolutely there. And also my social media is connected to my thunderrosa.net. But if you just don't want to go there, you can go to Thunder Rosa at Thunder Rosa 22 for Instagram and Twitter. And all my information for my TikTok is there. I'm doing a lot of challenges because I'm bored. So you will be entertained because I have nothing else to do but to entertain you while you're in quarantine.
It's Thunder Rosa. Thank you so much. Wrestling with Derek.